Lemire, talking about the White House's reaction to the Bolton book, trying to get the toothpaste back into the tube after it's all out.
Right. It seems a little too late. They did file an injunction, the Department of Justice did, in court to try to halt the publication of this book. Of course, that comes after newsrooms across the country have already obtained a copy, although it's not officially on sale yet, for a few more days. It's certainly, the president has argued that this shouldn't be out there, that he argued last night in an interview with Sean Hannity on Fox News that it was even illegal that John Bolton wrote this book, suggesting that the information inside of it was classified. There's no suggestion that that's the case, that Bolton broke the law, broke any sort of classification law by printing this book. At the same time, the president seems to have the incoherent argument of both saying it's classified, but also none of it is true, and suggesting that John Bolton is just a bad actor, that he's sour grapes because the president says he fired him a year or so back. Bolton, of course, suggests that he resigned instead. I mean, the White House certainly knew this was coming. They're not, at this point, there certainly doesn't seem like they were able to delay its publication. It was originally slated for a few months ago. It would seem that at this point, the contents of the book are out. And the question now is, what does it mean? To Peter's point, it reaffirms the heart of the impeachment matter. The president was willing to deal with foreign countries to get electoral interference. This was certainly, he's not asking for a dirt on a political opponent like he did with the Ukraine, but he is asking for China's help to help him retain the red states, the sort of farm states that he feels like he needs to win again in 2020. For China could buy soybeans and other agricultural products. And certainly the claim about the concentration camps and giving his approval of those is particularly striking. And also, let's connect it also, Joe and Mika, to our current crisis with the coronavirus pandemic. This shows, again, the president eager to turn a blind eye, according to Bolton's book, towards these human rights abuses because he was so eager for a trade deal with China. It's the same thing that we saw at the early days of this pandemic as the coronavirus was spreading in China. Didn't want to criticize China, didn't want to criticize Xi Jinping because he was prioritizing that trade deal. He had told advisors, we reported at the time, that he didn't want to denounce what Beijing was doing because he needed the trade deal for his re-election prospects.
Yeah, I was tweeting about this yesterday, that this book really describes a president poised to completely botch a pandemic, which appears has happened. Some more from the book. Bolton reportedly writes that the president did not know that Britain has nuclear weapons, and even asked if Finland was a part of Russia. Bolton also writes that President Trump came closer to withdrawing the United States from NATO than previously known. Bolton describes a scene from Trump's 2018 meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, where Secretary Pompeo slipped a note to Bolton about the president, which said, "He is so full of blank." Bolton also details how even the president's closest advisors had an unfavorable opinion about his abilities, such as Chief of Staff John Kelly, who openly asked about Trump, quote, "What if we have a real crisis like 9/11 with the way he makes decisions?" You know, Joe, this book really illustrates potentially just how bad, how overtly bad things were inside the White House. And my question to you is, what is the duty of the Mattises, the Tillersons, and the Boltons to do something in real time or to say something in real time? These aren't just little nuances that might be troubling. This is unpatriotic behavior. These are actions that endanger our national security, that endanger the American people.
Well, when he's commander-in-chief and he's in charge of the nuclear codes, he's got the nuclear codes, and he's in charge of the United States government's executive branch. They have a duty immediately to go to Capitol Hill if they don't want to talk in the press, to testify behind closed doors and to intel committees behind closed doors, to armed services committees, to the foreign affairs committees, and let them know that the ship of state is in the hands of a madman, or at least in the hands of an ignorant man who doesn't have the temperament or the intellect to effectively run the country. James Mattis didn't do that. Rex Tillerson didn't do that. John Bolton most glaringly did not do that at a time.
Until he could make money.
Right, until such time he could make money. And so you do have a duty. You do have a responsibility. If you think, as John Bolton believes clearly, that the president is unfit for office, that the president is so ignorant that he doesn't even know that Finland is not a part of Russia, if he's so ignorant that when he's in a meeting with Theresa May, then the United Kingdom's prime minister, somebody points out that Britain's a nuclear power and he was shocked by that fact, then, John Bolton has that responsibility, clear responsibility to the nation that he took an oath to, that he swore to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. He had that duty. He failed that duty bluntly. Kelly failed that duty. Mattis failed that duty. Everybody that served with this president and left and remained silent, kept their peace, failed their duty.